I found a floppy that was hand labeled Windows 95 boot. Oh, listen to those hard drive noises. It recognizes it as a 1 gigabyte drive. Might be a bit big for this machine. We'll leave it as auto. You'll see what happens when it boots. He's booting off the hard drive. He booted into Windows 95. And it's finding a bunch of... Yeah. Let's go ahead and restart, see what happens. Well, I found a Windows 95 disk inside this CD-ROM drive. The graphics seem to have gotten better. Well, this is going to set up a bunch of things on this system. I'm going to let it do that. I'll get back to you once it's done. So the adventure begins. We have ourselves a blue screen. It's saying that the multi-function device CMD PCI dash 0640 PCI to IDE controller has some child devices using 32-bit drivers and others using compatibility mode drivers. This configuration is not supported, so your computer has been halted to prevent corruption. What fun. After you restart your computer, Windows will use compatibility mode drivers for each child device attached to this multi-function device. If you want to use 32-bit drivers, you may be able to obtain an updated driver for the device that caused the problem by contacting your hardware manufacturer, or you can just disable the device. Whatever. Let's press any key and see what happens. Okay. Let's Control Alt Delete that guy. Let's go in there and set those drivers, or set the drives. There we go. There is no battery on this machine, so those drive settings will not save when I power off this machine. But that's okay. For now, that's okay. Booted in normal mode. It can use compatibility mode drivers all it wants to. This machine is kind of an oddball. We'll go ahead and restart it every time it wants to. Again, I will come back if anything changes, or once it gets done trying to find drivers and things. Well, it looks like it's done finding drivers and things. We came to a Welcome to Windows 95 screen. But we don't need to see that. Alright. Let's see what's in my computer. MS-DOS 6 and pants. Okay. That's about a 1 gigabyte partition. That's about a 2 gigabyte partition. Pretty neat. It's not detecting all the floppy drives. That's peculiar, but let's see what the device manager looks like. What's going on with this? Saying device is not present, not working properly, or something. Take him out of there. have to try to find some drivers for this. That's fine. Let's look at display. Or just completely exit out of it. Settings. We can go to high color. We're in 256 color right now. High color at 800 by 600. Just reloading Windows, not doing a full system reset. Those nostalgic noises. Well, he's looking prettier. But let's shut this guy down. See if I can't find find any drivers at all for this motherboard. And I'll be right. All right. Well, I found some drivers for this machine. It's been a couple days. I had to do some research. Apparently the CMD PCI what does that say down there? The chip is right here. I don't know if you can see where my finger is, but it's the PCI 0640B is the controller for the floppies and the IDE channel on this board. And it seems it has a data corruption bug on it, as well as the FDiv bug that's on the processor. I may look for a different option, but let's give this one a shot first. All right, I have the black box there. Let's power this machine on and we should see the video pop up in that box. You can also hear the hard drive firing up. And the Dallas real-time clock, the battery on it is dead, so we have to reset the CMOS every time we boot this guy. I will fix that in a later, but it won't be long from now, video. Go ahead and boot Windows 95 on here. Incidentally, if you can see on the bigger screen, I have an IDE to CF card adapter here, and it detected that just fine on in the BIOS. That's where I put the drivers for this, for that chipset on this board. I think it's this one. Drivers. Okay, now that we know that that's there. Let's go to the device manager. Doing this by keyboard is a little bit tricky. Properties. No conflicts, that's okay. Let's just remove that controller and then see if it'll find it again. It did. Let's see what happens after it gets done finding this stuff. No. We're not going to restart just yet. It'll want to several times in this. Okay. Alright, I'm just messing around here, it looks like. Okay. Let's go back to the device manager. Let's see if we can't get it to. Is it going to let me update drivers for this guy? See if it lets me from here. Calls it a standard. It really wants to be restarted, so we will do that. There's a zip drive on this machine, but it's not recognizing in the system. No mouse on this machine. It keeps popping up with that message. Let's see if we can't. Okay. A few little things in there. Yeah, it says it doesn't have drivers. That's exactly what we're figuring. That's why I got the driver files for it. Okay, let's see if it's... What am I looking at here? Well, I might as well see if we can't get the zip drive working. And it wanted to restart. All right, we're back in Windows. Just listening to those fantastic drive noises. What is this setup? Oh, I see. We're not going to go through with that. Or why not? No aisle mega drives could be found. Okay, well. I guess we really aren't going through with that. That's okay. Just maybe. I know it says NT3.5, it's probably NT3.51, but that's okay. We'll get it in there anyway. Just hitting install on the .inf files, which are those that look like a notepad with a little golden gear in it. Just to see if we can get any better luck out of what we're looking at here. That's not parallel port, that's IDE, you idiot. Okay, let's see if we can't get a driver installed. Apparently not. Oh. We're trying to refresh it again to see if it comes up with something updated. Looks like all the same stuff though. No, we're not going to restart just yet. If this doesn't work, I'm going to... Doesn't look like it's any different. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this down. Just like so. Let's power him off. Just to get things working, I'm going to install this standard 16-bit ISA I/O card, which will give me the serial port that I need for a mouse, but also game port, and there's a parallel port on here, another RS-232 serial, an IDE connection, and a floppy connection, which hopefully will get this working a little better with our floppies, and because within Windows this machine was only picking up one floppy drive. This one is drive A when this one should be, because it's, you know, connected beyond the twist, and it wasn't picking up this one in Windows at all, even with the BIOS set properly. So we're just going to move the cables over to that controller. This might be a little tricky with these drives. That's all right. I think I got it. It's a little hairy, but remove the CF card adapter. Let's move this couple spaces up. We're going to have to configure the BIOS a little bit. Onboard floppy disk controller disabled. Onboard serial port disabled, so we don't need that stuff. That's not disabled. Okay. Is there a way to turn off the IDE controller? Maybe not. Maybe in chipset features. Okay. Doesn't look like it was in there either. Different memory shadows and boot sequence and all of that. Different cache settings. Might be causing a hardware conflict if I can't turn off the IDE controller. Let's go back in here. Well, let's see what happens. I may have to just use it as a floppy controller to get things working, because the IDE controller was working just fine on the board. I'm going to see what the auto detect is coming up with. Nothing at all. Okay, that isn't working. Give me just a moment. Let's see what we can do about adding just a floppy controller onto this board.